Well, so there's one more little line that I like that neatly puts a bow on it for me. And so when he said former agent, I guess possibly in a way to disparage our great organization, right? So number one, I want to point out, the earlier part of that interview, they were talking about the offensive line and how there's clearly a new vibe around the Jets, right? So Pat McAfee brought up three plays. One was I forget what the one was, but one was the one when the guy picked up Brees and slammed him, and Jonathan Simpson like ran over before even Brees even got up. What's that?
I was saying he did the first clip was everyone touching their helmets and saying like,
Oh,
everyone's
right.
on the
Yep,
same
yep, yep.
page. It was yeah.
Right. Everybody's paying attention. Nobody's sleeping on the job and shit. Yeah. So, but then the other one, so when he picked Brees up and Jonathan Simpson were like ran, right over there and was in the guy's face. And the other one was when they tackled Aaron Rodgers. And I watched it numerous times. It's a late hit, dude. I mean, it started on the field, but he brought him to the ground. It was 90% of the tackle was on the sideline. That gets called most times. But anyway, Alan Lazard was like, in the guy's face, and it was just one of those things where we've complained about that for years. Like, why isn't anybody defending Zach? Why doesn't anybody pick him up off the ground? He's got to like peel himself up. And you saw it all game. We were talking about it. Frankie and Jeremy and Dom and Gunny and I, we were talking about it. Like, if there was a Brees run for 5, an offensive lineman was there to pick him up. If there was a tight end that, caught an 8-yard pass, the offensive lineman ran over and picked him up. Like, that's what you want to see. And it's an interesting thing. They pointed out Morgan Moses was a big part of that, as was Jonathan Simpson. And they both came over from the Ravens this year. And that's something, they're just, I would look, it's not that big of a gap, but they're a little bit better of an organization historically than us, right? Is that fair? A little bit?
A little bit.
A little bit. So it's just one of those things. So like, that's where it was going into when it kind of devolved into this Reddick thing. But like, that's the thing. Like, here's what's up. Like, we all know this. When it was Marcus May's agent, when Marcus May was holding out and all this stuff came out about Joe Douglas, he's impossible to work with. He's the worst GM. It seems like whenever we have a player holding out, there's this article about the top 10 worst GMs. Like, they just happen to wrap the article around this nugget of news they have from the disgruntled agent trying to move the needle for his client. And some Jets fans buy in, and it starts a little dialogue between us, and we argue and bitch. But I like that somebody finally said, everybody knows who this is. There's nobody that's unhappy here. There's no one unhappy. Everybody's brotherly love. We team unity. We're working our asses off. Like, we all believe in Salah. Salah's all motivated, blah, blah. Everybody's happy. Aaron Rodgers gave $35 million back to the organization last year. Like, there's nothing going on. And then you got one guy who's holding out, who didn't get what he wanted. And this article, so good on Aaron Rodgers. Like, so there's a part of me that's like, man, would you just shut up? Like, we don't need anything. At the same time, I think the larger part of me is like, good. Somebody with some voice, just voice it. Say it. Point it out. It sounds a lot like Haason Reddick's agent to me. I don't know. Maybe not. But that's what it sounds like. And I like it.
What's up, guys? Matt O'Leary from Talkin' Jets. If you liked that video, please make sure to subscribe and follow for more New York Jets content.